Go. All right.
All right.
Go.
Oh, business. Town seal update, George.
Okay, as everybody knows, the SEAL committee has made our initial proposal. And so we have asked, we're in front of the select board, didn't expect an approval. However, as Bob Lawton said, we are requesting that there be an article placed on the town meeting. And that we still had, things to do. And what's on the to-do list is to reach back out to the public. And we're going to sit down with the new director of communications, Laurie Sullivan, and create an ability for interested folks to come on the, on the website and provide some comments. I sent this out to a lot of my friends, and a lot of my friends aren't bashful, and they have made some, suggestions, which I will ultimately share with the SAIL committee when we meet. We're supposed to meet this Monday, but it's the holiday, so we'll meet the week after. And then we'll continue to refine the rollout costs, and then based on comments that we receive, probably do another iteration to present to the select board. And by the beginning of March, hopefully it'll be in February, because then they'll have to refine the the articles, and then what we will do is do public forums. So we've talked about doing several at the library, the senior center. I'm going to suggest the cultural center, and maybe one of the schools. We'll see if we have enough time. But I think it's important to, give the public a chance to come back on it. So that's where we are. This August subcommittee in January of 2020
I know. Yeah.
started the ball rolling. Here we are,
Crazy.
4 short years later. But who's counting, right?
Who's counting?
Yeah. Who's counting? All right.
Yeah. It was cool to finally see like something happen with it. It was so cool. I watched the meeting. I couldn't go, but I was watching it from home, and I was like, wow, like look at all we did. It was really cool.
Yeah. And really we did all the spade work, and
It's
so
exciting.
yeah.
To see like the design and everything,
Yeah.
the proposed design.
130 years in the making.
Yeah, it was really exciting.
Yeah. So thanks.
Yeah. All right.
By the way, just an offshoot, Jan Fraser and I were down to see the language people
Oh,
in
okay.
Mashpee.
Hmm.
And who should walk in at the end of our meeting was Jessie Littledoe, who heads up the whole language thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And she really didn't have time for us, and she made that pretty clear. But she's, in the 2 minutes I talked to her, she did mention the Matakees. But I told her where I was from. She says, "Oh, the Matakees." And I said, "Well, what about the?" She goes, "A lot of people mistake places, people."
Mhm.
And so she's pretty adamant that it was the Matakees people here.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what I gleaned from.
Yeah. We have based on some of the feedback, and we had sent 2 letters to David Wheaton, and 3 really, because when the annual meeting approved the committee, and I briefed Ken Mudi, I suggested we write to David Whedon to let him know the committee has been set and to feel him out on whether he'd, be able to sit on the committee, and if not, recommend, some native people who are still in Yarmouth. And he demurred, but we then also sent a letter, and Bob and I wrote this, asking him, to weigh in on, is Mattakese, we have it on a seal, we're reviewing this, and Bob and I crafted this, and we asked, is it the location? Is it the people? We sent a follow-up a month or so ago and didn't hear. However, some inside baseball, after the presentation, I recalled that Miss Devaney did an article on the Mashpee seal. So I reached out to her, and you saw the story, right? And so as a heads up, when I knew it was coming out, I sent, and this probably shouldn't be in the minutes, but maybe not. Yeah,
It's an update.
it should be in the minutes.
Yeah.
So I reached out to Paula Peters and David Whedon, thanking them for their participation with the subcommittee, and just letting them know that it was presented, and that they may hear from Miss Devaney. And didn't hear back from Paula Peters, but had a response from David. And he suggested, which we had asked him in the prior two letters, if you can't help us, direct us forward. And he mentioned the language group. So we
Jessie Littledoe, she knows.
Yeah, she probably heard, but we sent it
They're
to,
pretty knowledgeable.
we sent it to the executive director, and Bob Lawton sent it to the executive director.
That's who we met with. Yeah.
Using the with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
With him and also Anne Marie. Forget her name. The two of them.
okay, that's perfect,
Yeah.
because that's who we sent it to. So that's good.
Yeah, they're pretty
indication.
knowledgeable, and they're in direct contact with Jessie Littledoe. So
That's perfect. That's, that's what we need to do. So. Yeah, so that's it. So it's moving, so, which
Yeah.
is exciting.
It is exciting.
Yeah.
All right. George again, for the arch.
Memorial Arch. So, I sent an email to the principal of Daedalus, Josh Crane. I wish him a happy new year, and asked him about a field trip. So he wrote back and said, we have the arch cleaned of paint and rust. The next step is to do some mock-up of final service treatment for your approval. Would you like to schedule a trip here to have a look the week of January 29th? Any day but Monday, the 29th would work on our end. So I reached out to Lisa and Karen, and Lisa is going to look to see what we can coordinate on schedules, and who we have been including, just with the ask, is Beverly Barshond, because of her involvement from years ago, and also oh God, now I got a block on her name.
Sue.
Sue Bonnell at, because she's still in touch with family there. The Simpkins family, the Tufts, which is still there. So, and Sue Bonnell came to the arch when it was removed in November. And so I wrote back to Josh and said, we'll work on the time. In the meantime, if you could send photos, that would be great. And I haven't seen any photos yet, so. But that's moving along, which is excellent. Yeah, yeah. And also one of the things, we'll be doing is a replica of the light that was there from 1928. And so I did some road trips out to Sandwich. There's a lantern company out there, Sandwich Lantern Company, and talked to them. They don't do these kind of custom, but I had also found, I stopped at Barfield and talked to them on their own
Electrifying it.
6A, and they said they really don't do that. But well, create it and electrify it.
No, but if you gave them the lamp,
Yeah.
right?
Well, whoever we have develop it, create it, will electrify it. I mean, they put the light in and all that stuff. So, but one of the things we're perusing, and I raised it with the principal in Sandwich, is solar as an option. He said, no solar, doesn't work. Panels undependable. So Barfield recommended Nauset Lantern Company. I went down to Nauset Lantern, and they do reproductions. Asked the same question about solar. He said, no, don't do it. Haven't done it.
Hey, there's two people telling you not
That's
to
it.
do
Yep.
So, so our forebears 96 years ago figured out the electrical part of it. I think we can do that. I think it's possible. And the principals at Nauset Light, it's a husband, it's a family business, husband, wife. The wife is from Yarmouth Port, so they were particularly interested. So, yeah, so,
Good.
yeah. Okay, I'm done. Thank you very much.
Assessor's records.
Okay, so the issue with the assessor's records was that, first of all, I tried to get into the Excel files
Mhm.
and I kept clicking on the thing and it wouldn't bring me there.
Mm.
So, Karen Green and I sat, you were there.
Yep.
With financial people who control the assessor's records.
Mhm.
And it was agreed that we would put in a statement, a short statement saying this property may be subject to 60-month demo. In the assessor's records that I've seen, I haven't seen the statement. So I just don't know where it is.
Mhm.
Yeah, Karen was going, I brought that up to Karen when I saw your request, Bob, and we have a new finance person, as you know. And so Karen's gonna check with her and see if we can get some movement on that. And see if she's got any ideas about how we can get that done, since we have sort of a new group in that may be something that we can get to move
Yeah, it was a
forward.
very odd meeting.
Yes,
He seemed to want to expand the scope of work and have something automatically populated from, and he went on about all the intricacies of what, saying I would volunteer to do this. There's only so many houses in the historic zones, and all you got to do is create a field and type it in.
Mhm.
So it just kind of went by the wayside.
Yeah, no, well, we can resurrect it with the new finance people and see if they've got some ideas, Bob, that may, hopefully not be
Right.
so labor intensive, but she may have some ideas at how we can approach it. So that's, yeah, Julie. Karen has reached out to her, so.
Okay,
we'll,
So, does the assessing department report up through finance?
yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
And finance controls IT. How about that one?
Interesting.
At least.
Hmm.
That's what this guy was
Hmm.
saying.
Okay, so wouldn't it be something where if you, like, say they're like, okay, Bob, yeah, go ahead, here's the field, enter it in. Wouldn't it then need to be constantly updated as houses get older? Right, as they hit that, like,
Yeah, so as
70 or-
houses get ripped down
or
and new ones put up, obviously, yes.
so would it, maybe what the guy's saying about like complications with like setting something up, maybe so that it automatically would populate, like if like, because in an Excel spreadsheet, if you have like a date or something, and then you want another field to like correspond to it, you can put in like, if field whatever is this date or like older, it would automatically put this phrase in this box.
Yeah.
That way that you wouldn't have to continually do it. You would, you would set the code, and then it should technically just do it all by itself.
Right, so in the case of, what could be, in the case of like, the houses on Bass River that are getting torn down and
Mhm.
built, they have to go into the assessor's records and
Mhm.
change everything
Right.
anyhow.
Yeah,
They gotta change the value, the
Yeah.
structure, and the makeup of the structure,
Mhm.
the land assessment, all that stuff, so, anyhow, there was only ever that one meeting,
Mhm.
and so.
Seems like an important thing that they would do.
I'm,
have in there. I don't know. Maybe not, they don't care, but I mean, it's part of the, like, the record of the property that.
seems like a
Here.
couple things that we really wanted to accomplish. One was the signage around town and this other thing, where the townspeople, other departments are involved. They don't,
Yeah.
they don't seem historically inclined. That's my experience there.
Mhm. All right, well, we'll keep that top of brain.
Exactly. Keep it on the agenda going
Yeah.
forward so that we have visibility.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Union Street,
You want to talk about that?
or that's
Okay.
next, right? Are we done with
Is
the?
it?
Yeah.
Oh, the industry, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know where we are. I think the last we left it was, Karen was gonna check with the roads, find out where we could actually put the sign,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and that we had all agreed, I think, that it wouldn't be smart to put it on the property
Right.
itself.
Right. Right.
But to put it like right there, there's no access to Bass River there anyhow, because it's all a roadway.
Mhm.
And there's a fence. There's a metal fence, I think, that's up there. So, it would be easy enough, maybe they need to be prompted, so maybe we need to make a sign
So
and present it.
didn't the property owner say that he'd
He's
be
dead.
willing to pay for it?
Yeah, he's dead.
He's dead.
Yeah, he died of COVID after our meeting, after we visited him at the property. Like 2 months later, he died of COVID.
Oh my God. Well, a week or so ago, I was driving across, down Ferry Street to come back over the bridge and looked across. Gone.
Yeah.
Wiped out.
Oh, is it?
Clean. Cut. Oh, my God. Wow.
So it's a shame because it's such a historic spot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was the second ferry landing. First ferry landing was Union Street, but Zeno Kelly built his wharf there.
Mhm.
And when Union Street went in as a street, they moved it. Wing shows it on first ferry, second ferry. And then it was the Cooper shop after the bridge was built in 1833. So, and that structure that was torn down were the timbers of the Cooper shop. So, and we have a lot of information on
Mm-hmm.
both. We have maps that can actually show where the ferry was and stuff. So I think we could put together a very nice sign.
Yeah.
Yep. Just need to cite it and then put it on the list with other signage to do. But yeah, I think it's important also. I mean, that's such an historic area. Hackett Landing.
But the signs, like I was gonna do a Judah Baker sign,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not sure how it's supposed to get
Mm-hmm.
approved or passed through, because we originally tried to do CPC funds
Mm-hmm.
for this, and we were referred to an internal
Mm-hmm.
town committee that had, I think, $100,000 funds. When we first were gonna do these signs, and they shut it down.
That was CEDC, right? Yeah.
So there's another example of,
Mhm.
wanting to do something a little thing historic in town and being shut down. So
We still have the option and, and we just didn't have the bandwidth. CPC will fund the signs.
yeah, we should just do it that way.
So, and we had talked about that as to
Yeah.
what to include, do a 3-year plan.
Right.
And then this year would this and this, and then, so it's there available. It's like,
My
who's
question,
gonna do it?
my question is there an overriding entity in town that can say no?
Well, and Karen had mentioned that there's a process, a wayfair process. Lisa, is that the correct term? There's some overriding term, or, the process that they're looking to standardize,
I thought that was naming convention.
signage. No, I mean, it's, check with Karen. There's a review process going on about signage, and she wasn't sure if this would
Yeah, I
Get
don't know that
enveloped in
much
it.
about it. It was called wayfinding. And it's some
wayfinding.
kind of a, I don't, like I said, I don't know very
Oh,
much about it.
I know what
but-
wayfinding is.
Okay, that's
So,
what- yeah,
so if you
that's-
were to go to like the Historical Society and you were to go over the little bridge there,
Mhm.
right, the culvert,
Excuse me.
there would be a sign that says, an arrow, Banks Hallett House, Kelly Chapel, blacksmith shop, we too. And it's a series of maps directing you. They call it wayfinding.
Mhm.
So I don't think this falls under that.
Well, Karen had mentioned it, so we should double check that.
I mean, the only reason it would fall under wayfinding is if somebody wanted to know some history about the town, and they would be directed to the sign,
Mhm.
say at the mill. But
Okay.
wayfinding is getting to places,
Mhm.
understanding how to get to places.
I'll touch base with Karen
Yeah,
and see,
yep.
find out more about it and what the, where we are right
Mhm.
now and how these signs
Mhm.
would fit into, you
Good.
know, whatever.
Mhm.
Even if it's two signs.
Yeah.
I mean, we should at least have a sign at the mill and a sign at the
Mhm.
Packet Landing.
Yep.
And the other thing is, it's on back burner, but I did all that work on sea captains in South Yarmouth. And we would just have to find someone who could make a map and have a sign to put that, the only town property there is Packet Landing. And that's part of the problem, because there's only a few places on the river that is actually town property. You know, the windmill is one, Packet Landing is another, and I'm not aware of another.
Mhm.
There's town ways
Mhm.
like Union Street, but
Mhm.
there's not an open space where you could put these historic things, and so much historic stuff has happened on the river. So
Mhm.
All right.
Kind of. I asked Lisa to just revisit our brainstorming.
I gotta tell you, I was lost when I
It's
I
a
understand.
it's a compilation.
It is. I remembered what we created
Yeah.
after I joined the board, but I didn't know all this past stuff.
Yeah,
April 2019,
I know, so,
jumped in.
yep.
Look at that.
So It's.
Associate member, George Slama.
So
Uh,
what I tried to do
Yeah.
is take these, you know, these first pages, the ones for the brainstorming session of April 18th, 2019, and then this 2019 brainstorming session, like a
like an
spreadsheet sort
Yeah.
of.
update.
Yeah, and then I try to put all those things onto this
Yeah,
because these were hard to read and some of the
Mhm.
formatting was kind of wonky. So I included this stuff so that you guys could, oh yeah, I remember doing that.
yeah,
And just
I-
make sure I caught everything on here, because I'm not sure I did. I wasn't sure what some of these things were. So that
Yeah.
was my effort to
No, that's great.
remember,
Yeah.
you know, have you guys remember, oh yeah,
Yeah.
we did, and then I tried to pull it all together. So I
Yep.
may or may not have been successful, but that was what I was trying to do to make it
Job.
easier.
Yeah,
So,
no.
Did a great job.
so that was my
yeah.
goal anyway.
So-
So,
I just kind of wanted to bring it back to everybody's mind, figuring new year, maybe we could go back and just look at some of the ideas that we had had. And
I
maybe see what we think are still relevant or important, and maybe just try to work on like one thing, because there's not a lot of us right now.
Can I make a suggestion?
Absolutely.
This last spreadsheet,
Mm-hmm.
I recall,
Mm-hmm.
this is the latest one that we all put together,
Yeah,
last 2 pages. This,
This is, this,
2.5.
this is the one Lisa,
yeah.
Lisa just created these, Bob, and summarized everything.
But there was a spreadsheet. I thought that's what this was. There was a spreadsheet that we did
Mhm.
as a submission.
I don't think
Probably
no, this,
this.
yeah, this
Yeah.
one was with the,
There was this,
yeah, I think it's just a.
this
yeah,
is the one
just
I
the
did,
formatting. Okay.
which was, yeah, I mean,
Oh,
October.
right. 2019. So October 2019,
Yeah.
next steps,
Yeah.
select the goals. So we revisited, you know, updated February 2021. So,
yeah, because I can remember sitting down at the end
Oh,
of
yeah.
the year
yep,
in a meeting.
yep, yep, absolutely.
I think that was it, but it just the formatting
Yeah.
and whatever, I think it may have been on PDF or something, but the formatting just got all messed up. And I
Mhm.
thought, well, no one can read this. So I tried to just pull it all
Bless.
into everything that I found in this. So
Yep.
Mm.
I mean, this should be.
and you could
the-
just, but I want you guys just to make sure that I caught everything based on the previous pages. And again, some of these things I weren't sure what they were, so that was. So,
Yeah, so, I mean, I think, like, obviously, we talk about the signs quite a bit. And maybe we just need to like decide on one or two and just come up with some template, because I know you've both done the template before for.
We have a template that's a 24 by 36.
Yeah, so maybe we just need to make one and be like, here. We want to put this there, and then at least there's something to already look at. Like me be more proactive about it as opposed to waiting for someone to tell us it's okay to do it. Can we at least maybe draw up some kind of a something like a prototype?
Well, and
We have a
we
prototype.
had talked,
Yeah.
we had talked about that,
Yeah.
last fall when we were talking about possibly doing a CPC grant, I just didn't have the wherewithal to do it.
Yeah.
And so, but what Karen suggested is that it doesn't prohibit us from creating the signs
Yeah,
like we did with the Indian Memorial. And having those, all right, that's done.
Yeah.
Now we're ready. And clearly, I think this simplest and cleanest revenue source is the CPC. Because they paid for the sign on the Indian Memorial. Gary is big on signage, and that we forget, going to CEDC and other places because no, I mean, we don't get anywhere. So it's just bandwidth,
Yeah.
There's nothing keeping us from creating a sign for Judah Baker Windmill.
Yeah.
Nothing keeping us from doing the same thing with Baxter Gristmill.
yeah,
And the,
The only thing that keeps us from doing the captain's houses here is you have to have a map produced to
Mhm.
show,
Mhm.
and that you would have to pay a
Yeah.
cartographer
Yep.
to do
Right.
that.
yeah. But we know what we have and we have a format and it's worked. We got
Yeah.
the history and it's just who can do it?
Right.
Who can step up and do it?
yeah.
know?
Mm,
So,
Yeah, like who has all the information, like, I mean, I don't have all of it, so, and I know you guys do have a lot of it. If anybody wants to do it, like, just
Well,
put
depending
together.
on the sign that you want to produce.
Yeah.
Want to produce a sign on Crowell's Pier or the Salt Works or Judah Baker.
I mean, there's so
At
many
the end of
options,
Union
but
Street, it's there.
pick one to start with, I guess.
well, I mean, obviously, two of the town assets don't have the signage and that's
Yeah.
Judah Baker and that's Baxter.
So I feel like.
So those should be the two.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, maybe we can all together make that happen, at least
I
get a
have-
template put together.
I have actually started the template for the Judah Baker, but I never take for granted what I read
Mhm.
in prior histories.
Yeah.
And I've done quite a bit of research on Peter Baker,
Mhm.
who was part of this mill that got. So
So the goal should be to be in a place to submit a CPC application in October for those two signs. That's the date we're driving towards. And so, Julie, if you can create my suggestion is just create a critical path with deliverables as to what we need to do to get us
Okay.
to that date. And then we can pass it out and see where we be.
That's good. Good.
Excellent.
And then, let's just maybe keep this brainstorming information handy and try to reference it more and just
Well, some of these things
we
are-
had a got a good idea.
Once some of these things are done, so I put them on
Yeah.
there, she could say, we did that, and check it off, exactly, because, I think the arch is on there somewhere. gorgeous.
This is on there,
Yes,
the
it's a great
townwide
thing.
archaeological, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
the
did a,
CPC grant,
right,
Yeah, so,
but no, this is great.
yeah, so
So
I
thank
just
you very
wanted
much.
everybody to
Yeah,
kind of
no,
have it again and just
Nope, good
remember
idea.
that we did this. and
Yep, and having the
something to
backup,
reference and go back to look at.
Yep.
All right, I also asked Lisa to put another item on here to revisit the project that me and Bob and Meg were kind of working on with
Mhm.
the different lots. And feel like I don't know, I feel like it's overwhelming. To say the least. And
We were going to make a prototype out of 9,
yeah,
out of lot 9. All the information is there. The question is, and it's there for existing houses, and it's there for houses that were moved, and it's there for houses that were destroyed.
mhm,
And it's there for houses that were destroyed, and then other buildings were built.
mhm. So I was thinking about it and trying to put together something for each property. For, I guess, our ultimate goal was to then have it uploaded to the Mass Historic databases so that it's like all the information is there and correct. But I had another thought that I thought might be fun. Because Bob, you know so much about this, like, would it be something where we could do, I know like actually in the brainstorming, we had talked about like oral histories or some kind of a recording of this information, like, do we have access to like a YouTube channel where we can like film you once a week talking about one of the properties and like just go through them and be like, this is
Yeah, be great.
Bob's history talk and he's gonna talk about this address today, and people might dig that. And like, what happens when you pass away, Bob? Where's all this information gonna go?
In the ground.
That can't happen.
Actually, I'm producing a Saltworks book. I've revisited the revisions that you guys did,
Uh-huh,
but at the end, instead of lots below the county road, I included all the lots.
okay,
All right, and I
Mhm.
rewrote that whole part, and I made a second map of
Okay.
subsequent owners in these lots to the original lease source.
uh-huh,
Okay, and it's just about finished.
mhm,
And so a lot of the history is going to be published in the Saltworks book.
Mm.
So
mhm.
a lot, not, obviously not the details that we have
Right,
here, but there was an idea to have an electronic map,
yeah,
which I think we could do because an electronic map would identify houses that are currently there.
mhm.
I wouldn't have a clue how to start that, but was an idea.
Yeah,
Well, speaking of ideas, one of the CPC grants was with the Division of Natural Resources, to, they put in money to do a survey of town access to water, and have found accesses that were, public, but neighbors have made them private, and people are always asking about, where can I get to the water and so forth. So CPC is giving them money, and they have contracted with a firm that is working with the town because the town already has GIS mapping capability that Bruce Barrow does. So that may be our entry
Yeah.
port is, to GIS and to IT first to do, here's what we want to do.
Yeah.
So, see if,
I can tell you that there could be some difficulties there. For instance, our property at 6 Bellevue in the 1940s, a relative, after he got out of the war. So Bellevue ran into Highland and did not go to the river up until 1945.
Mhm.
And then Junior Burgess just decided, because he was there year round, he had built a boat in his garage on Kelly Road. And he took his bulldozer down there, put a road into the river, and put a boat in. Then it was a dirt road. People used to come down there. There were all kinds of little dories upside down there and so forth. And it was known as Kelly's Landing. My grandfather tried to stop it because he lived in Medford, but he owned 6 Bellevue. And I can remember Alec Todd was the head of the selectmen at that time and friend. And while all this was going on, Alec Todd took it to town and said, this is not a town landing, this is private land. And my grandfather got so worked up about it, he died of a stroke.
Gosh.
So what my cousins have done, so my uncle built a house and the town made him put in a 40-foot road. Okay. There are no 40-foot roads around, but he put his house in right down there by the river and they made him put this road in order to have access to his house for some reason. And my cousins have since cordoned off the road. Well, it ended at their driveway and planted wild, stuff. But that was never a public land. But there are people in town that say that was a public landing, and it wasn't.
But, my suggestion was just more an infrastructure, there may be something from a GIS standpoint that they already have here that we can repurpose. The history bar will sort itself out,
Yeah.
but that's,
There would
that's-
need to be like overlays or something to click that was then.
that's,
For
into
instance,
something
Aiken
else.
Avenue used to run straight into the river. In the 40s, that was moved.
Yeah,
Somebody
but-
wanted to put their house in there. So now that town way, which is a town way, it's not the original. town.
right, but
That's why we
that's.
just need to videotape Bob telling us all this stuff and then we'll all know.
Yeah, but the point is, Bob, is there a mapping capability that exists now that we could repurpose, not getting into the weeds? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So meet with
Mhm.
GIS and IT and say, here's what we're thinking.
Yeah.
Set up the meeting and brainstorm with them.
Yeah,
So that's my suggestion.
good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just thinking about that.
No, it's a good one.
Bob has all this knowledge and we need to all know it.
When I was
forever.
giving Saltworks talks and everything, we were looking for someone to film them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And we
Yep.
couldn't find anybody.
yep.
I mean,
We
just
talked
like
about that.
put a cell phone on a tripod and you just talk.
Yeah.
And just upload it to to YouTube.
Yep.
It's free.
Yep.
We had the guy who videos and has the IT video stuff for the hearings. He came to the Judah Baker Windmill when they were taking the sails down in the fall to film that, put it out on our website. Hey,
Oh.
we had a great year. Come see us next year,
Yeah.
and so,
Huh.
Lori Sullivan, the new, social media person, had arranged that. So I wonder if we could, I don't know whether that's something he could do. But,
Yeah.
that's
That's a great
a
idea.
possibility
This
that,
could
they're
definitely-
trying to expand,
Yeah.
The historic show that the cultural center is gonna put on,
Mhm.
I might do a lecture
Yeah,
during the month of March.
yeah, I was gonna ask you to let the folks know about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
From March 5th to March 31st, the Cultural Center is doing a history of Yarmouth exhibit. And I know I'm going to provide a lot of Saltworks stuff. They're looking for artifacts, pictures, all this, and I'm sitting with Molly on I think the 17th at the Quaker Schoolhouse, because I want her to see the Quaker posters, see if she could use them. I've got all these pictures that they have photo reproduction capability up
Mhm.
to, I think, 14 by whatever, 20, whatever, 14 by 20 something. And I have maps, really maps, and there's a lot of people involved now. I thought it was going to be in August, but it turns out that it's in March. So we're gonna have like a Saltworks section, Quaker section, and she's gonna kind of do it like in time, history in time. So and Friends of Bass River will have the boardroom, and we'll put information about the bridges in there. Stuff like that. So there's a lot of topics, the freezer up in the north side, and Revolutionary War. So we're going to try and get the Historical Society to bring the Civil War exhibit that they have. Because Thanks Helen House is closed. Nancy Mumford's going to supply garments. Okay. So we're meeting, I think, on the 3rd.
23rd, right? So I'm
I'm
been
going to
asked
start slowly bringing stuff in.
asked to sit in on that, and what I'm going to speak to, I mean, I think the Indian Memorial, we should have.
We should have a paper sign made of the latest rendition of that.
Yeah. So I'm putting together, a list of
Yeah.
things to present: Indian Memorial, the Memorial Arch. Depending on where we are with the town seal, I mean, that's 130-year-old, process. The arch, 96 years old. One of the things I've been thinking about, and it's not going to happen here, but in thinking about the rededication, hopefully it'll be September 8th of this year, which would be 96 years. I mean, that corner is tough to do the rededication. One of the things I'm thinking is when this is done, if the cultural center will display it.
Oh, they would love that.
Display it, and then we will have the dedication at the cultural center, and then Daedalus will come back and.
I think they'd love that, George.
Yeah. So we're going to posit that. The historic glass plates. I mean, that will lend
Yeah.
itself perfectly to that.
I wonder if we can get a projector that does glass plates. They call them magic lanterns, I think.
Yeah, well, we can talk to them
Yeah.
because Bob Nash took the plates and made the larger photographs. So, I'll bring that. And of course, the archaeological exhibit here. I mean, that's,
She's gonna have glass cases she bought specifically for this, so you can lay out
mhm.
the glass plates and then have the pictures.
Yep. So, one, I presented to the commission, Packanacket Village. You're talking about the villages of Yarmouth. I mean, we have Quaker Village, we have the campground village, we have, so, I mean, so that, no, Yarmouth does not have a center, It's villages of Yarmouth.
Yeah.
And and the, so there's a lot. So I'm gonna put that together and I'll share that with folks so that you can add if you like, but but Packanacket Village, before all of this development up here, it was, a summer campground. So, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of history here, which is great. It'll be fun.
Yeah, that sounds.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
George asked for a talent bank update.
Yeah, so far we don't have anybody who, I thought I had discovered somebody who was really gung ho for it. And I said, oh, fill out the talent bank form and let me know when you've submitted it. And I reached out to her at the beginning of the month. She said, oh, I've changed my mind.
Mm.
So, if you guys know of anybody,
There was a-
you know,
There was a guy that put his name in, his first name escapes, Giannakopoulos.
oh, yeah, okay,
Okay, and he wasn't living here at the time. But they bought the Frothingham House.
Hmm.
Which is the big house down there by the yacht club.
Yep.
The kind of Tuscan house, I think it's 3 stories or some such thing. And I saw him at the cultural center Christmas Eve. New Year's Eve. And I asked him, because I knew we were looking, and he said that he did put his application in and that he was interested, and then he got busy and all, but I think I think they're close to retiring now, and so you can reach
Okay.
back out to him.
okay, yep. Okay, I'll ask
Yeah.
Pam to do that.
Be good.
He's in a nice historic house.
Yeah.
He's into historic things.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, great.
Does anybody have any specific items besides what we've already discussed? Correspondence updates? Celebrate.
Yeah, there were there's a couple things that Karen wanted me to share with you guys on the Taylor Bray Farm, and we put out the bids for doing the rest of the work on the barn, and of course they came in huge. So what they're going to do instead is put out a bid probably this month or next month to do the windows, doors and siding, at least get that done, get it buttoned up so
Right.
that it's not,
Right.
it's not deteriorating further.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they are, there were pre-bid walkthrough on January 24th. Jeff Colby was going to have that and then get the bids due by February 9th. So
Is this like a phase 2 or phase 3?
this is a phase 2. They had
Yeah.
put out the phase 2, which included plumbing and electrical and, the
Mhm.
whole 9 yards for refurbishing the entire inside of the barn. But,
Right.
and I don't understand the whole process, but from what I do understand, if the bids go over a certain number, you have to subcontract out all the little pieces, so like to contract out the plumber and the electrical and all the other pieces, and it was going to be way too big for the money that had been set aside for this, so instead they decided to try to just get the barn buttoned up and then, go back and then work on the rest of it as,
That's the key.
yeah, exactly, at least get it
Key.
where it's okay.
What do you hear about? More, the governor. Cutting historic funds. I read an article yesterday about it. That tax-based historic funds, they're cutting. Because they need it somewhere. First thing I thought about CPP, because it's tax surplus.
So there's the state match, which is what you're referring to, Bob, right? Yeah, it'd be interesting to.
It
read on
didn't
that.
get specific about
Yeah,
CPC or anything like that. It just was a general. See if I can find it.
if you could shoot that,
Yeah.
to me, I'd be interested in looking
Yeah.
at that because I mean. We have money generated from 3% of on our real estate tax, so that's a local. So what Bob's referring to is then for those that do the full 3%, then we are then eligible for match.
It's actually more than
Yeah.
matching, but
Yep, yep.
it's, but yeah, that's the
Yep.
part.
But, yeah, and then also there's the distribution based on what's brought in, to the, for, permits and bids and all of that stuff. Filings at the Registry of Deeds, so that, but I'm curious to read what it is, Bobby.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, I hope the CPC is okay, it might be just non-CPC tax credits, but I'd be curious on that, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Judah Baker?
Yeah, and the windmill, when I had mentioned before that we had gone out there when Andy Schrake was taking down the sails, and he pointed out a few places where it needed some work. The squirrels have put a couple of holes around the windows, shoot through some stuff. So he had said, we need to rebuild that. And then the wind shaft is rotting, so needed to be rebuilt as well. So he had submitted a budget to Karen about how much it would cost to fix those three things. And we have the money in the budget miraculously. So she told him to go ahead.
Good.
So he's gonna do that, when the weather's decent, sometime in the next couple of months
Right.
and get that fixed up so that get the buttoned up.
Wasn't there gonna be a phase 2 to the Baxter grist mill, to the foundation of the mill itself? As I recall, there was some deterioration there,
And I think that was done, Bob.
I don't think the foundation was done. I think that
Well,
outside of it, all that work was done.
but
The retaining wall, the ladder with the wall, that wall does not touch
Right.
the building,
Yeah.
and that kind of like, I call it Amish drywall, the flat. There was something in the report. Jeff Colby has a report.
yeah,
He's the one that I heard it.
yeah, no, I recall that there were, some sill issues, right? Some rot. I think on some of the walls too, they were looking at the windows and they discovered there was rot. So
Maybe if they're gonna have a town meeting in the fall, I don't know, but there's some talk about it. Maybe we can look into what's needed. And the work's all been done. I mean, the assessments have all been done.
But that's
Town.
preservation, so that would fall under the auspices of
CPC,
CPC.
yes.
It's not maintenance, it's preservation, so we should see what, because that,
Could be simple
Definitely
as
should
just
be.
asking Jeff
Yeah.
what the suggestions were
Mhm.
in addition to the fish ladder being
Okay.
rebuilt
mhm,
and the retaining wall
mhm.
being rebuilt. There was
Okay.
something in his report about the mill itself.
Okay. Was CPC money given for that? Is
Yeah,
it sitting
I'm pretty
somewhere?
sure.
No,
No?
Okay, so
No.
there's not you'd have to ask
No, oh,
again.
no, but was
Yeah.
it CPC funds that did the fish ladder and all?
mhm.
Yeah, but I mean,
That
for
was
the
separate.
building
That was
itself,
separate,
right?
right? Yeah,
That's right, so the building was going to,
it's gonna be separate.
Separate,
Yeah.
okay.
I just recall
Yeah,
that he
no, you're right.
mentioned
right,
there
Okay,
was some
okay,
concern. Specifics, I
Okay.
don't quite
there was,
fully
Yeah.
remember.
there was some rot in the sills, there was some rot in the structure itself. When they were, I think one of the windows had a problem, but in a
Okay.
related, they found more serious issues with it, so.
okay.
And I think they temporarily did what they needed to do to. front it
Yeah.
up, So,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because they were like, it was rotting because it was like the water was still going under the building.
yeah,
I'm right, and it was sort of just sitting in it.
but yes, but
Yeah.
Jeff should be able to.
Yeah, it's
send us
definitely
something.
somewhere. I remember that as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that definitely should be on our radar for
Yep.
CPC.
Okay.
Because, it's,
And
I mean, long-term goal was to make that baby
uh-huh.
real-time history,
Right.
I mean, it's, we have a.
You've got the park there already. You got
Right.
the walkways, you got
Yeah.
parking,
Parking.
you've got
Right.
the walls and everything are now done. The
Yep.
fish ladder is up there and the building is not.
Building,
But-
yeah,
Can't have it.
I know.
Shame on Yarmouth because, what's the Stony Brook has a working mill and they grind corn, I think, as does Sandwich. They have a working mill. I mean, and we have it there, and Gay got it up and working. We have a neighbor, a resident who has the pump that was used to draw down the water level, in the mill pond so that, he could do his work in the 60s, and that's been offered to us, but we have to come up with a venue to put it in, or, the resident won't give it to the
So
town.
does the
Mhm.
water doesn't go through the mill anymore though.
No,
Now they
So-
don't.
no.
We could never get it up and.
Yes, we could. There's a diversion.
Yeah.
There's two diversions, one for the run and one that existed even before they did the work. So you lift a gate and the water goes down the sluice
They-
way that turns the turbine. I
And
mean,
they
that's still there.
kept that.
And the hardware is still there. It needs to be
Yeah.
refurbished,
Well, there's your project. Jeez.
somebody's.
Somebody, that's a big project. We need more people.
But that reminds me that if we ever wanna. Let's get the pump, we should get it. Or,
He passes.
Yeah.
Well, I followed up with him and, he said, well, let me know when you got a place for it.
we need a storage place, that's what we need. Maybe we could store it at the Taylor Bray barn.
I'm storing a model of the grist mill at my warehouse. It's been there for years.
A what?
It's a model.
A
A
model,
model of like I don't even know what it is anymore. It's been in my warehouse forever.
And what is it?
model of what?
It's like a model of like the turbine or some kind of a thing. It's like this big wooden model that I have.
Do you have a photo?
Probably. I'll
Can we
get
come
it.
by and see it? Do you know where it is?
I'll have to have my crew take it down. It's like up on top of like. my
So I
vault.
want everyone to know that there were two such mills, in South Yarmouth. Okay, there was the Baxter Mill
Mhm.
And then there was the little
The
mill
little
that
mill,
came out
that's
of the
right.
plashes that feeds Parker's River.
Mhm.
And they were both the same kind of mill.
Hmm.
Interesting. A little mill.
It
How-
was water driven.
How large is that model?
It's probably the size of like
You take a
a
picture of
tea
it.
cart. Like it's big. It's
Nice.
like a big rectangular thing. And it's got like 2 levels. And it's
What's
all
it called?
painted. It's this wooden model.
And,
Take a picture of it.
and what department put that there? Who,
We did.
oh, the historical commission.
Yeah. I have it. I have it.
WTF, another WTF, right?
I have.
Yeah.
it
That's what I'm
on
saying.
my
What's-
phone.
Take a picture, yeah.
Next time.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just up there. It's chilling. So I mean, if they want to give me their pump, I'll put it with it.
Oh, this baby, I sent pictures, I'll send you a picture again. I mean, this is a 1920s pump.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah.
How big is that?
Oh, yeah, it's big. It's
Yeah.
Half
like,
the size of this table,
Okay. What's it made out of?
metal.
Like metal?
Metal and rubber.
Okay.
I'll send you a photo.
Okay, we'll trade photos.
But as a, if the Baxter Mill were made to, say, have visitors
Yeah.
and be cleaned up inside, you could put these models
Right.
Mhm, mhm.
in there and, you know, with nice signage,
Uh-huh.
inside
Yeah.
the mill.
Mm.
I've got fabulous picture, 1 or 2 pictures of that mill way before, like, Route 28. was
Yeah, I have a really cool
28.
photo too. I have it hanging up in my office. It's like, yeah,
Mhm.
but
It's,
there's like no road,
it's
it's like
kind
from
of
a
set
distance.
there and there's a couple of very large houses
probably the
there.
same picture.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yep. All right. We'll work on
We
this.
really need to find somebody from West Yarmouth. Let's beat.
we've been saying that for, what, 4 years now?
That's right. I need an advocate.
There's so much history,
That's,
same, you know.
that,
Lewis
that was in
Carroll.
our brainstorming.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
All
Get
right.
somebody in charge.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right,
Okay. Can we approve our meeting schedule for 2024?
so moved.
Yep.
Excellent job as usual, Lisa. You-
All approved, yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
good.
Excellent.
And then we've got 2 hearing. Is our buddy David?
He's having a hard time selling. Realtor, he's having a hard time selling this.
Yeah. And yeah. So can I have a motion to approve this?
I'm over.
All right.
Seconded.
Yeah. Whatever. Okay, both public hearing and meeting minutes.
Yeah.
Unanimously approved. Okay.
Excellent.
And next meeting is February 8th. Looking to adjourn?
So moved.
I'm going to second that one.
Second,
All right. Woo-hoo.
approve.
All right, approving. Oh, there was all 3 of us.
It's a small but mighty committee,
That's right.
commission.
Right.
Uh,
Get much done. Sure.